Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. I'm so excited about today's video because it's been a half a year in the making, and today I finally get to reveal my results using a topical estrogen cream for the last 6 months on my neck and on half my face. Topical estrogen has been a huge topic on social media this year and in the news. A number of different companies have come out with subscription topical estrogen products. It's all over your YouTube feed, all over your Instagram feed. You see influencers and dermatologists talking about the great results that they've had using topical estrogen cream for anti-aging on their face. And so, of course, I was really curious about it and I decided to give it a try. 6 months ago, I put up my summer skincare routine video, and in that video, I shared that I had started using a compounded topical estrogen cream. This one is 0.3% estriol, and I was so excited about it because I had looked at some of the research into topical estrogen, and I had seen that one study showed that there was a 61 to 100% improvement in pores and wrinkles. And I was like, yes, sign me up for something that's going to give me that kind of results, because, you know, I'm 62 now, I'm postmenopausal, and once we go through menopause, we lose our estrogen. And once we lose our estrogen, it has so many systemic effects. We have estrogen receptors in every organ system in our bodies, and we have tons of them in our skin. And so our skin really responds to this lack of estrogen. The loss of estrogen causes our production of collagen, elastin, hyaluronic acid, ceramides, like just about everything that makes our skin plump and youthful, causes the production of those to plummet and basically fall off a cliff, to the point where you are down 30% of some of these things like collagen by the time you're in your postmenopausal years, causing our skin to have very rapid deterioration as far as wrinkles, sagging, lack of firmness, dryness. And if you're going through menopause, you've experienced this yourself. I don't think there's any menopausal woman who hasn't experienced the changes in her skin. And they come on so rapidly that it can be very distressing. And so we are looking for some kind of a topical cream or something that you could use at home that could help with some of those effects. I was really excited to try topical estrogen, mainly because of some of the studies that showed really amazing results in pores, in wrinkles, and all in 6 months' time with very little irritation. And I was especially excited to use it on my neck because I use tretinoin on my face, but I have been unable to use tretinoin on my neck for about the last 6 or 7 years. And so there's definitely a difference between the results I'm getting on my face with tretinoin and the results I'm not getting on my neck with not using tretinoin on my neck. Lots of topicals really inflame my neck, like tretinoin, and so a lot of them I just can't use. So I was really psyched about this because it is supposed to be fairly non-irritating. I use the cream once a day on my neck and half my face for 6 months. I took before pictures back in June. I took after pictures just a couple of days ago. It's been 6 months, so I'm going to share my before and after pictures with you here today. But we're going to take a look at those in a little bit, because I had also said that I would do a deeper dive into the research and let you know what the research said. So as I do, I looked up the studies on topical estrogen, and oh my gosh, did I find a few. So these are the 17 studies that I found on topical estrogen, and I had just a little bit of light reading to do to go through all these, but it was so worth it because they are so fascinating. These were definitely like all over the map from all different time periods, using all different methods and all different types of, estrogen and versus different types of things, and placebo and no placebo. And I'll link all the studies in the description box below the video, but if you don't want to read through 17 individual studies, I'll also link this one overview study that pretty much looked at all the studies, summarized them all in a little table here. And this one was very interesting, quick read, only about 4 pages. So this is the one to read if you're like, want the cliff notes. But I do like to do the deep dive, see what the studies actually say, because sometimes there is a difference. And I gotta say, there was a difference in one of these that really blew my mind. And I was shocked at what the abstract in this study said versus what the study actually said. And it was the abstract that really made me excited about using this cream and thinking that it was going to make my pores disappear and also make all my wrinkles disappear. but they kind of misrepresented the data in the abstract. What the abstract from the study says is that after treatment for 6 months, elasticity and firmness of the skin had markedly improved, and the wrinkle depth and pore sizes had decreased by 61 to 100% in both groups. So they had two groups that they were studying, one with estradiol and one with estriol, and they said both groups saw a decrease in their wrinkles and their pores by 61 to 100%. Well, go past the abstract and read what's in here, and what it actually says is that it was 61 to 100% of the participants felt like they saw an improvement in their pores and in their wrinkles. But it doesn't mean a 61 to 100% reduction in pores and wrinkles, which is what it says in the abstract. So that bugs me about some of these things, but that aside, let's talk about some of the more concrete results that they got in some of the studies. So it was 17 studies and them all over the map. I really don't want to go over all of them, so I'm going to throw out all the ones that have just a few people or were only done for like 2 weeks. Even though they do add some interesting information, I'm going to concentrate on the ones that were mainly on estradiol 0.01% that lasted for more than, say, 12 weeks, things like that. Some of them just studied the estradiol at the 1 strength. Some of them compared estradiol to estriol 0.3%. One of them compared it to glycolic acid at 15%, and 3 of them compared it to 4% genistein. That's the phytoestrogen, the plant-based estrogen. So let's take a look at those 8, and we'll just do them in order by date. So the first one we're going to take a look at is this study done in 1996. It was on 58 women aged 41 to 67. It studied 0.01% estradiol versus 0.3% estriol. They used it on the face and the neck. They applied 1 gram, which is a 1/4 teaspoon, that's a lot, a day for 6 months. By biopsy measurement, they had increased collagen 3 in both estradiol and estriol, but no change in collagen 1 in either. In their test on wrinkles, they had a significant decrease in the estradiol group and a highly significant decrease in the estriol group. As far as skin moisture that was measured by corneometry, there was no change in skin moisture in either group. This next study was done in 2003. It had 65 participants ages 39 to 83. Some of them were on HRT. It compared 0.01% estradiol to 15% glycolic acid. This is one of the most interesting studies, I think, in here. It was done on the face, and it lasted for 6 months. They were looking for changes in thickness, elastic fibers, basal cell atypia, collagen density, inflammation, and keratosis. The results were that both creams were equally effective in improving all those areas. They were both improved about the same amount, as you can see here in this graphic. But simultaneously, they were also studying them used in combination by having the participants use the estradiol cream in the morning and the glycolic acid at night. And the combination was more effective than either one used alone. So I thought that was cool. If you really were never going to use an estrogen cream, you could get roughly the same results with a 15% glycolic acid. They did specifically say what brand they used in here. It was a Neocutis product, and I can link that in the info box below the video. So the next one I want to talk about is this study done in 2006. It had 15 participants, ages 46 to 58. These women were all on HRT. This one looked at just estradiol, 0.01%. They applied it to the face for 16 weeks, 1 time a day. They were looking for changes in epidermal thickness, dermal thickness, and collagen amount. Their results were that all measures increased significantly. With the clinical tests, when they asked the participants for their self-assessment, 87% reported that they saw improvements in their skin. And I am on HRT, but being on HRT doesn't preclude you from being able to use topical estrogen. Then there's a 2009 study on 40 women ages 45 to 55 not using HRT on 0.01% 0.01% estradiol versus 4% genistein isoflavone applied to the face for 6 months. They found an increase in thickness by 75% in the estradiol group and 20% in the genistein group. They found an increase of 125% in the estrogen group and no difference in the genistein group in the dermal papillae. In fibroblasts, they found an increase of 123% in the estrogen group and no differences in the genistein group. And in the blood vessels, they found an increase of 77% in the estrogen group and 36% in the genistein group. In this study from 2013, it used 30 participants, and they were all postmenopause, studying 0.01% estradiol versus 4% genistein on the face for 24 weeks. This one only looked at hyaluronic acid, and they found an increase in both groups with greater effect in the estrogen group than in the genistein group. In this 2017 study, 30 women age 45 to 55 who were not on HRT were studied. Half the group used 0.01% estradiol, the other half used 4% genistein on the face for 24 weeks. They were looking at collagen 1 and 3 production. The results were statistically significant increase in collagen 1 and 3 in both groups, but more in the estrogen than the genistein group. And then the last study is one that was done in 2024, and Alloy paid for this study, and it had 90 participants broken down into 3 groups of 30. The ages were between 50 and 60. They were not on HRT. One group used 0.01% estradiol, another group used 0.3% estriol, and one group used the placebo on the face and neck for 12 weeks. The skin water content was increased 20% in the estradiol group and 26% in the estriol group. For elasticity, neither product showed any consistent changes, and with transepidermal water loss, the estradiol and placebo groups were neutral, but the estriol group had 13% more transepidermal water loss. In their expert grading, they found that radiance was improved 29% in the estradiol group and 31% in the estriol group. Roughness was improved 31 to 33% in the estradiol group and 31%, about equal in the estriol group. Firmness equal 15% in both groups. Hydration was increased 26% in the estradiol group and only 2% in the estriol group. Elasticity, there was no change in the estradiol group, but a 12% increase in the estriol group. And overall skin health, about the same, 18 and 19% in both groups respectively. The 9 of the 17 did study systemic absorption, so I just wanted to go over the results in that area with you. 6 studies reported no statistically significant differences from before the study to after the study as far as systemic absorption. 1 reported no statistically significant difference in estrogen or FSH levels, but a significant increase in prolactin. 1 study reported improvements in the skin in an area that wasn't being treated, and also a decrease in hot flashes, making them hypothesize that maybe it was doing things systemically in other parts of the body. As far as side effects goes, there were very few side effects noted in any of these. It seemed that in general, the creams are very comfortable to use. They didn't really cause too much in the way of irritation. There were a couple of mentions of some pigmentation that was caused on the cheeks in, I think it was like maybe 3 out of 20 patients in one study, or 1 out of 10 in another study. So definitely in the minority, but enough to be aware of that it could cause some pigmentation on the face. None of the studies mentioned having any subjects included that had melasma or rosacea, so that was not studied. So it has finally come the time for us to take a look at my before and after pictures. Before we do though, I always like to give you my photo disclaimer, which is that I'm not a scientist, I'm not a clinical researcher, I'm just a regular old person like you, and I'm taking pictures of myself here in my filming studio. I do have a very lovely camera, high def. The lighting stays the same, the camera angle stays the same. What moves is me. I try to match the position of my face, of my neck, and the amount of bend in my neck. I can't get it exactly right, but I do try, and there is no retouching of the photos ever. And so with that said, let's take a look at the after pictures after using estriol 0.3% cream on my neck and this side of my face for the last 6 months. So let's start in with the pictures of my pores because of course my pores are the bane of my existence. I use the cream on one side of my face only. So I just wanted to see if there was a difference from one side of my face to the other. And I feel like the side that I use the estriol cream on, the pores definitely look reduced. I feel like I can see a reduction from one side of my face to the other in the pores. All right, so now looking at the before picture to the after, 6 months of using the estriol cream, I feel like the pores definitely look different in the after than the before, and I want to say it's because they are diminished a little bit. In the before, they're definitely like very defined round holes, right? And in the after, they're not quite so perfectly round or perfectly defined. And I don't know if that's from skin thickness or extra collagen, but they definitely seem less pronounced to me, less like divots in my skin and more just like softer indents. So for me, that is definitely a win. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how my pores look. Now looking around the rest of my face, I do see a difference in the eyelid skin. It seems to be a little bit more crepey and a little bit more saggy from one side of my face to the other. Since it's so non-irritating, I was even putting it on my eyelid and I feel like there is a difference in the sagginess of my hoods. And I also think that the little diagonal wrinkles underneath my eye look to be a little bit less pronounced. Also, the wrinkle at the top of my lip, that one seems to be a little bit less deep. Just generally speaking, looking around my face as I'm talking, I feel like I can see a difference between this side of my face and this side of my face. I feel like this cheek is just, I don't know, it feels like the cheek is a little lifted, and I feel like I can even see that in the pictures. So this cheek is like down here, and this one, it's just a little bit higher. You see the difference there? It's something that I've been noticing based on my face and applying it to this half of my face. I actually do feel like it's doing something after 6 months, and maybe it will increase over time if I use it for another 6 months or another couple of years. You know, like when I think about tretinoin, I didn't really see a difference in my skin in 6 months at all with that. It took me 9 months to a year to finally start seeing things, but it really took like 3 years, 5 years for it to make a huge difference in my skin that I could really feel like I was aging backwards and Benjamin buttoning things up. So it can take time, you know. So, you know, this is something that I definitely do want to keep using, use on the other half of my face, see if the results will increase with use over time. All right, so let's move on to my neck. You know, my neck, the other bane of my existence is that the neck is not keeping up with the face as far as the tretinoin goes. So looking at the neck pictures, I feel like I was expecting a little bit more because of that 61 to 100%, but again, have to ratchet that back to more realistic expectations. In the pictures on the front of my neck, I feel like I see maybe just the slightest improvement, but nothing really super major. In the next picture, I have my head bent a little bit forward and I'm bunching up my turtle fur. In this one, I feel like I do see a little bit more of a difference. I mean, obviously it didn't make any of my wrinkles disappear. It didn't make any of my turtle fur go away. I feel like I can see a difference here that the bunching up of the turtle fur isn't quite as big or quite as much in the after picture as in the before. Looking at my neck from the side, I don't really see a huge difference between these. There are like a few little spots where I feel like I can see a little bit of a difference, but I feel like there's really nothing major. And then looking at it on the other side of my neck, this is the side of my face that I was using it on my face and my neck, like at my jawline there, that it is just a slight bit of an improvement right along the jaw there, along that little saggy bit. I do feel like I am seeing a little bit of a difference at the base of my neck. I wanted more for my neck, you know, but I mean, I had a Morpheus 8 treatment on my neck and it didn't show really great results. So I feel like 6 months in with the cream, am I really expecting it to do more than like a $2,000 in-office procedure? But based on the changes that I see in my skin in the before and after pictures, I think there's enough there for me to keep using it, see if it gets better over, say, the next 6 months. You know, the nice thing about it is that there is no irritation, and where I can't use pretty much anything else in my skincare on my neck, it's like the only game in town as far as my neck is concerned. So I'm going to continue to use it, and I'm going to do it happily, and hopefully in another 6 months time, then my neck will be looking maybe even a little bit better. So let's talk about if you want to start using an estriol product. The way to get the estriol product, there are a few. You can go to see your dermatologist like I did originally and ask them to prescribe it. They may have it, or they may send you to a compounding pharmacy, which my doctor did. So this one was called Skin Medicinals if you want to use them. I'm not affiliated with them. I just bought my first 2 bottles from them. And then I contacted some of the online prescription services that are geared more towards menopausal women like Alloy, Midi, and Muesli. Originally, I was thinking that I wanted to try all 3 in time for this video, but you know, I really didn't want to like have all these prescriptions of estrogen sitting around. So I just went ahead with Alloy to start. So I've got my Alloy prescription here. This is their M4 cream, and Alloy currently has a discount code for this for the rest of the year for $50 off if you want to try their M4 cream, which is their estriol 0.3% cream, the same thing that I've been using. And I have been using this one. This is a 45-gram tube, so more than in here. This is supposed to last about 3 months, and I'm really happy with this one as well. Now, Alloy did give me an ongoing discount code for $10 off. So if you see this in 2025, you can use my $10 off discount code. I'll put it in the info box next to my link. This was so easy to set up on Alloy. I really enjoyed the service. I wanted to give their tretinoin cream a try, so I got that too. So I've been using their tretinoin. I have the $10 off if you want to try their tretinoin, and $50 off on their M4 cream now through the end of the year. Obviously, you don't want to start using something like this until you've discussed it with your doctor. You have to go over your family medical history and what risk factors you have to determine if it's right for you. But that's what I like about these online services is you talk to a doctor, you talk to a nurse practitioner, you talk to someone who looks at your history and can give you the recommendation that you need without having to go in to see like your gynecologist or, you know, your dermatologist. It's just much more easy, much more convenient. And so as far as the services go, I really like them. I find them to be really great. So that is it for today's video, everyone. If you found it helpful and informative, go ahead and give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit all the notification bells so you get informed when I upload a new video. As always, I thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you watching. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.